But in the deepest experience of stillness, you can't actually say whether anything is actually stopped, because there's no experience of anything actually stopping, nor is there experience of anything actually moving. The reason is because the deeper spiritual experience of stopping is actually the experience of non-resistance. When there's no resistance, there is the experience of non-movement, of fluid non-movement. In this sense, the subjective experience of stillness is predicated solely on resistance, or the lack of resistance. If there's resistance, you will experience movement. Endless, annoying movement. However, if you experience the same moment without the resistance, then that moment feels like complete stillness. So again, stillness in this deeper sense isn't the opposite of movement. Stillness is the experience of no resistance. It's not about actually moving or actually not moving. No resistance, no experience of movement, even as everything is moving and changing. This is something I try to convey when I'm talking about meditation, because you can spend lots and lots of time trying to make things still, or trying to hone in on some little pinpoint of experience that seems to not be moving, that seems very, very, very still. That's a conventional type of stillness. And you can focus down on that kind of stillness, and you can try really to participate in it as much as you can. That's a particular kind of stillness. Conventional. Real stillness, in the spiritual sense, is totally unconventional. Real stillness is, say in meditation, it's not about trying to be still. If anything, it's the relinquishing of all resistance. And I will also say, of all grasping. So when you're not grasping at anything, trying to hold or maintain anything, and you're not opposing or in resistance to anything, and I mean even very, very slightly, now that's a completely different experience of stillness. Then it feels like all of existence is completely still. Not just me meditating, having found an inner experience of stillness, when all resistance is relinquished. There's experience of total stillness, which has nothing to do with movement or the cessation of movement. It has to do with absolute non-resistance to movement. And then there's no center from which you're endeavoring to maintain a state of stillness. Because this kind of stillness, complete non-resistance, is built into the fabric of reality. Again, you'll always find that it's only your mind that's either constantly moving about, trying to get somewhere, creating lots of movement, or struggling to be still in terms of an assumption that stillness is the cessation of movement. Why is it that you can feel completely still even as your heart is beating, as your lungs are breathing, as blood is coursing through your vein, as your brain's neural network is firing millions of times a second? That everything around you is moving, and yet you can experience total stillness. And you'll see that it all depends on not stopping anything from happening, simply the relinquishing of resistance. Without a story, without a new reference point. Might that disorient the mind? Sure. Let it be disoriented. It's like when you're learning to walk. Do you fall down? Sure. Trust in your falling down. Trust in it. Get back up then. Do you feel disoriented sometimes when you really let go in a deep way? Sure, you can feel disoriented, but trust it. If you try to become reoriented, find something new to orient around, all you'll do is make yourself feel more and more and more and more and more disoriented. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that have been talking to me about, right in the middle of them talking to me about, I feel so disoriented, I can't find the old meaning, I can't find the purpose, I can't find and they can't find any orientation, and they're all kind of freaked out about it. And I'll say, just stop doing all that. Just stop looking for a new orientation. Let yourself just stop grasping. And I can't tell you how many times, at the very instant I'm talking about that with somebody and they're right in front of me, that I can see them that just can relinquish, looking for something new to orient around. As soon as they relinquish, you can literally feel their whole body relaxes. Their mind relaxes. And you can see this little light going off in their mind where they realize, my God, I don't necessarily have to find a new orientation. I can just relax. I can stop resisting my own disorientation, and as soon as I do, there's no experience of being lost or disoriented. Again, disorientation is kind of like stillness. The experience of being disoriented is completely caused by the effort of the mind to find a new orientation. Not only the mind, but even your body. But as soon as it realizes it doesn't have to find one, or it's going to find a different way of being oriented simply by letting go, relaxing, then the whole thing can just calm down. And you can feel everything is okay. And if you're not in your mind, stuck in your mind is still there. But if you're not stuck in your mind, you know what you need to know when you need to know it. You don't know beforehand, but you know what you need to know when you need to know it. And that takes some experience. The more you experience it, the more you trust it. Until at some point your trust is pretty much complete. And because you know that you'll know whatever you need to know. And you know you'll know it only when you need to know it. Not at your own convenience, but when you actually need to know it. And you'll have enough experience to show you that. And so it builds great trust. But of course, we don't get trust just because we want to. That's not real trust. We get trust because we have experience. Like I say, if you want to trust in balance, you got to stand up, learn how to walk. You'll keep falling, you'll lose your balance, but every time you lose your balance, unbeknownst to you, in a way that you won't even have real consciousness of, that itself will be helping you find balance. So in a certain sense, you learn to trust your lostness. You become easy with it. You become relaxed with it, which gains you access to an even deeper experience of being, which is much more clear and much more simple.